Timeline. What is your optimal timeline for this to wrap up?
They should do it today. I mean, as soon as possible. I think that they have the facts from which they can write their report. If you're going to write a fair report, fine, write it. If you're going to write an unfair report, write it, and we will combat it. We're ready to rip it apart, and we're ready to rip them apart if that's what they want. We would rather peacefully settle this and get it over with.
Now, that is an ultimatum.
Timeline. What is your optimal timeline for this to wrap up?
They should do it today. I mean, as soon as possible. I think that they have the facts from which they can write their report. If you're going to write a fair report, fine, write it. If you're going to write an unfair report, write it, and we will combat it. We're ready to rip it apart, and we're ready to rip them apart if that's what they want. We would rather peacefully settle this and get it over with.
But see, there's the problem. Giuliani, former federal prosecutor, watched him, prosecuting Clinton, all of it. The problem lies in that they're cornered rats. They have signaled no quarter given, no quarter received. Now they're going for broke. So he's signaling, hey, we've got you illegally spying. We've got you lying to Congress. We've got you on the tarmac with Russians, giving them uranium. We've got you with a very oligarch, Mueller, who you say that Trump's involved with. I mean, they went Russia, Russia, Russia because the Clintons were involved up their eyeballs with Russia. And so now Giuliani's trying to signal to them, hey, just stop it. Let's have a truce. But in my gut, but also intellectually, Pastor, I know that that is not what they're planning. And so here's one more clip from Giuliani, again saying, if they illegally spied, they've been caught. It's admitted. The FISA court issued a report last year. And again, this year saying it was illegal, that they were lied to. And the judges have said they lied to get these warrants, and they used it for political purposes. It's in the news. New York Times today comes out and confirms FBI ran spy operation against Trump campaign that was illegal. Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne, we're going to play this clip, but do you agree with me on that?
Totally. I mean, what people don't understand, the narrative is being spun by the mainstream media because the media was taken over through Operation Mockingbird. And that whatever you see from MSN, it's propaganda. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're watching. So they're going to spin the narrative. People don't realize that Reuters and Associated Press were taken over. So they put out the AP, and then everybody just swallows that, and that's the narrative. So,
That's right. There's always been some problems, but now they will flat out lie about the sky being blue. I mean, they will just lie. And I mean, one day be saying, we've been spying on Trump and no, he's a Russian. We have all the wiretaps. Next day, January 20th, we never did it. It's made up. It's insane. We're back live. The Killing of Uncle Sam is the amazing book by Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne and Paul L. Williams. And it really is an amazing book at InfoWarsStore.com. But separately, I was told some things early on in the Trump campaign that made me begin to endorse him. And my gut already liked him. But then I talked to some of my sources. And look, to say I have military sources or CIA sources, most of the stuff we know is from the globalist own statements, their own documents, their own admissions. 95% of the stuff's public. So it's not like our broadcast is based on secret sources. But once the Trump campaign got going on, I knew that Eric Prince was involved. And I knew that they were aware that Hillary was planning to end free speech, and they were planning to persecute Christians even worse. It was so bad that even people who are pretty mean said, we're not doing this just to kick America around for no reason. We're not going to go ahead and just have a huge depression and let China take over. So America got to its deathbed. It got to basically, its 11th hour and 58 minutes. And so it was the American people elected Trump. But it was folks out of Florida, the military, and other groups that helped the American people work to get the WikiLeaks out. I mean, it was Eric Prince. And I was told this a long time ago, but I was told just this week from several sources, go ahead and go public with it because he's involved with the whole Cambridge Analytica and that whole demonization. And they're going to try to come after him. But there were, and it's not just Eric Prince, it was a bunch of other people in intelligence agencies that knew that this was the end of America if we didn't get Trump in, or at least the Democrats were going to move with the blue blood Republicans to end it. And that throughout the campaign, Trump had Prince and others and a private contingent of hundreds of former and current intelligence agency people running counter-espionage against the Democrats. And I can just tell you it was not the Russians that leaked all that information. I can tell you that right now, that there were patriots separate from Trump that ran intelligence operations against Hillary because she's a foreign globalist. It was America did that. America won. America got Trump elected. America gave the globalists a bloody nose and a broken jaw. And so now they're counter-striking back. They're the globalists. They're the outside force. We're the Americans. Look at the country coming back from the dead. We're the ones turning it around. But then I was told, let them try to remove Trump with their fake garbage, extrajudicial stuff, because he's got the Marines and the Army, once he became president-elect and then president, encamped around him, and I actually know that. And so if rogue FBI and rogue former intelligence heads are so arrogant, think they're going to pull this, they're all being surveilled, they're all being watched. Trump has been coolly letting them commit all these crimes so that once he pulls the noose, they're totally caught. And now Giuliani's on television saying, we'll play that clip again in a moment, you do one more thing. You don't drop this down for the betterment of the country, and you don't really run up the white flag, we're going to tear you into pieces. Let's go ahead and play that clip of Giuliani saying, we're going to, quote, ready to rip them apart. Here it is.
Timeline. What is your optimal timeline for this to wrap up?
They should do it today. I mean, as soon as possible. I think that they have the facts from which they can write their report. If you're going to write a fair report, fine, write it. If you're going to write an unfair report, write it, and we will combat it. We're ready to rip it apart, and we're ready to rip them apart if that's what they want. We would rather peacefully settle this and get it over with.
Now, that is an ultimatum from a former top federal prosecutor who almost brought down Clinton. He's saying, you got an ultimatum. That's from the president. So the president has issued an ultimatum. That's what's happened. What do you say to that, Pastor?
You know, obviously, I mean, this thing's gone on long enough now. I mean, it's and there's no proof of anything. So it's just spinning the lies and keep spinning. So you can see on social media the dumbed down population of America responding to the lies of the mainstream media, agreeing with it. But I believe in the end, this thing is going to become, well, it's already unraveled, but it's all going to be exposed for what it is, because this is what Infowars is doing. This is what you, the Infowar, are doing. You're waking up your friends. Don't be bashful or, you know, shy about it. Be vocal, because if you don't speak out right now.
This is the main battle. Exactly. This is the time.
And everybody has, your voice needs to be heard, because you're going to reach people I can't reach. You'll reach people Alex can't reach. And, you know, when people look at
that is so critical. I don't just say it because I just kind of throw it out there. It's true. You, the individuals, are the power. When you talk to people, when you spread the word about what Pastor Brown's doing or what we're doing, that overrides them. That's what they can't control, is you.
Correct. So people look at all the stuff we put in here, which is 200 years of history. They say, it's overwhelming. I can't do anything. But here's the thing. If everyone watching says, what can I do? You can pray. You can ask God, give me one thing that I must do. And if everybody watching does one thing, you can bring about a transformation in America like that. We'll see a total transformation. There's no question. 2 women wreaked havoc on American society. One took prayer out of schools. The other one started Planned Parenthood, which has been the death of 27 million African Americans just alone. I hear the abortion numbers, what, 59 million now. So come on.
42% of blacks never get out of their mama.
So come on.
And you don't hear a word. Did you see Spike Lee like a little demon going, eh? I mean, did you see him, how much he hates Trump? Yeah. He was like, he turned into a gargoyle.
Yeah, they all, even Keith Richards said, and what's so crazy, these are anti-gunners. He said, I'll pull out my knife, you know. So, a typical Brit, you know what I mean? I'll pull out my knife if I get a hold of Trump. So these people are crazy. They're lunatics.
And they all signal how they want to kill or hurt Trump. In fact, can we play the beeped one, of course? Cue Lee up. But it's the way he looks for radio listeners. He brings this violent hate out from Hollywood because it's spiritual.
Yeah, but you didn't see us doing that with Obama.
No.
You didn't see us doing that with Bush. You didn't see us doing that with Clinton. We just had to sit and take it. But they're doing that with Trump because they know the day is finished. They know that he's neutralizing them. He's castrated them.
Since I mentioned it, well, let's do it in the next segment, the whole military thing. Well, no, let's go ahead and do it now. Go ahead and get into what you've witnessed in Florida. I mean, how they've got armored bunkers around them.
So I was concerned, you know, because I obviously understand how the deep state function and what's going on. And so I was really concerned for his safety. But when we had to go in on a Sunday night, I had to speak in West Palm Beach. So we landed at the West Palm Beach airport. We pulled up to the FBO. And Air Force One had just left. Now they told me if I came in before, I couldn't land in West Palm Beach. I had to go down to I can't remember. I think it was Lauderdale, because there was a 30-mile blocked airways around Mar-a-Lago. You couldn't get there. So, but Air Force One had left, so we could land. So we pulled right up, and then right in front of us was this huge military transport vehicle airport. I mean, huge, where the nose lifts up.
Galaxy.
Yeah, all of the cars, you know, his own cars and all the Secret Service cars were rolling in there. And as I was standing watching, and I realized they're protecting the president. It's the military, and I was actually fortunate for that. Then I realized that the president's actually walking on line with the military. So then I understood what happened when he said, we're not going to Syria, but then they went and bombed Syria, but now he says we're not going to Syria. So he's struggling with that. But, you know, and I'm concerned about Bolton being around there because he's a war hawk, as you know. So you see this whole sit down with North Korea, which needs to happen, Now you got Bolton needs to step aside and get away from it. In actual fact, Trump needs to override everybody and say, I'm going to meet with Putin. I'm meeting with Putin.
I agree. Well, he's already met with all the other world leaders. So in a few areas, this whole Russia thing has kind of...
They did it on purpose to stop him because they know that he'll sit down and work things out. We don't need a third world war right now.
Well, that's the globalist program. They want ongoing crises, strategic tension, and Trump's pragmatic. He just wants peace. If people want war, they'll get it. But it's been globalists running America for so long that have been stirring up the problems, and that's why they're so upset right now.
From World War I to World War II to 9/11 to the endless war that we find ourselves in. And everybody thinks it's about terrorists. Well, the terrorists are trained here and shipped overseas, baby. You better wake up, stop and smell the coffee. Plus, not only that, it's about a pipeline. Syria's about a pipeline. It's about everybody heading for the base of the Caspian Sea with all the natural resources. That's what this whole fight is about. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. People smoke weed.
That's right. That's right. Saudi Arabia wants control all those pipelines.
Correct. But it's all about the new caliphate and the whole thing, you know. And
and Turkey is basically declaring war on Trump, Israel, Europe. We'll talk about it all.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Mr. Armstrong, you'd mentioned in your answer to, I think, Ms. Spears' question, that there are other RTs operating in the U.S. Can you describe them, list them?
Sure, thank you. So you have RT, you have Sputnik, you have Rupley, and then I think you have them feeding other entities. Infowars comes to mind, where those are echo chambers.
Dr. Comey, are you aware that Roger Stone played a role in the Trump campaign?
I'm not going to talk about any particular person here today, Mr. Schiff.
This bizarre circular thing happening where the president cites a theory that he was wiretapped, which developed on the kind of fringe right-wing media. And then after his tweet storm, Infowars then started saying, well, look, it was the New York Times that reported it, citing our story, misreading our story. And now, a few weeks later, the White House and the president are citing Infowars.
Are you aware that Mr. Stone also stated publicly that he was in direct communication with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks?
Same answer.
We're going to start shutting Alex Jones and others down, and we're going to sue them, and we're going to have the Justice Department come after them. And get this, folks, if they can shut us down, you're next.
You know, I think it's really important as we sit here that we explain this to the American people in a way that they can understand it.
We are at war with Russia.
So would you say that Russia engaged in hybrid warfare in its effort to undermine our democratic process and engage in our electoral process? Director Comey?
They engaged in a multifaceted campaign of active measures to undermine our democracy and hurt one of the candidates and hope to help one of the other candidates.
I actually think that their engagement was an act of war.
You said we were attacked by Russia. That's not a small thing.
Yes.
An attack doesn't just invite a counterattack, it demands one, else you reveal your fundamental weakness and get attacked again.
Never in the history of our elections has a country attacked us the way that Russia has.
I think before government officials change our foreign policy and declare war against a sovereign country, as you all are attempting to do, we, citizens, have a right to know on what basis you're doing that.
If there is objection, and I note the senator from Kentucky on the floor, I will say before I read this, if there is objection, you are achieving the objectives of Vladimir Putin. You're achieving the objectives of trying to dismember this small country that has already been the subject of attempted coup. If they object, they are now carrying out the desires and ambitions of Vladimir Putin, and I do not say that lightly.
Senator from Kentucky.
I object.
Objection is heard.
The senator from Kentucky is now working for Vladimir Putin.
You're carrying water for the Kremlin.
I'm not carrying water for the. You're a sitting member of Congress on the Intel Committee, and you can't say they hacked.
You're gonna have to move your show to RT Russian television because
you know what?
This
That's
is perfect.
Just so
this is perfectly
beneath your
placed.
office because it's so dumb and you're being duplicitous. I'm asking you, did they hack Podesta's emails? And you can't say it.
Personal insults like that, Tucker.
You just said I was carrying. You said I was carrying water for Putin.
Russian scum.
Our battleships weren't sunk and our towers didn't collapse a la 2011. But make no mistake, 2016 is a year that we should mark on our calendars. And it's still going on. The attack didn't end on Election Day.
Donald John Trump, a man who, to borrow a phrase from another December long ago, will live in infamy.
If we discover that Donald Trump or his advocates played a role in helping to devise strategy, if they're the ones who came up with crooked Hillary, if they're the ones who came up with she's ill, something's wrong with her energy, and the way that he basically, described her in the campaign, I think that is something that would put the question squarely on the table whether or not he should be impeached.
Talk show host is Alex Jones. He's a conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Deeply, I think, racist.
I just got called racist by MSNBC.
I don't want that man to have a gun.
1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
The Alex Jones Show. Watch the free stream live at Infowars.com/show.
Support good oral health with our one-of-a-kind Super Blue fluoride-free products. Infowars Life brings you a revolutionary toothpaste blend with iodine and nano silver designed to deliver a powerful clean. Enjoy a minty fresh flavor made with peppermint oil or try our bubblegum flavor. Pair this groundbreaking toothpaste with the Super Blue fluoride-free mouthwash and supercharge your oral health. Our amazing mouthwash features natural oils and ancient ingredients used since Aboriginal and biblical times. Instead of containing fluoride, our Super Blue line is loaded with the good halogen iodine and an array of other beneficial compounds that have been hand-selected for their oral health benefits. Super Blue fluoride-free mouthwash and toothpaste are the first and only to contain all of these natural ingredients: xylitol, nano silver, and iodine. Notice the difference with our Super Blue fluoride-free products. Refresh your breath and invigorate your oral health routine at InfoWarsStore.com. That's InfoWarsStore.com.